Hello everyone, and welcome to Living Coast in your living room. My name is Ashley, one of the educators here at the Living Coast Discovery Center. Now, for those of you that have never been down to the Living Coast Discovery Center, we are a small nonprofit zoo and aquarium located down in Chula Vista, uniquely situated on the San Diego Bay National Wildlife Refuge. Now, due to our perfect location, we get the opportunity to present all kinds of different natural animals and wildlife and different habitat spaces for you through our Facebook videos here every day, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. Now today we are going to be focusing on birds and how to use binoculars properly. So our theme of the day is Binoculars 101, and today we're actually located out at our bird blind, which is on our refuge here. Now, if you downloaded our Sweetwater Safari Guide, we have actually attached that to our website and let you know about all the different activities and extra materials provided for our videos throughout the week. And if you download that, you can actually see a map of where we are located. And I will show you that in a little bit when we're able to bring it up closer. So why don't you guys come on in and come to our bird blind and get a chance to check out our lovely natural space out here. All right, so I did tell you about our Sweetwater Safari Trail Guide. So if you downloaded this, you would have both sides where it has this aspect and then it has our map on the back. Now here at the Living Coast, we have trails that take us out on the National Wildlife Refuge, which gives you an opportunity to go on a nice little hike throughout nature. Now we are actually down here at the bird blind, which is right overlooking our San Diego Bay. So this gives us a great opportunity to view birds in their natural habitat spaces and getting a chance to view their natural behaviors. Now right now it is actually low tide, and usually during this time we see a lot of birds out here. We see a lot of shorebirds. These birds are out here because they're coming out to find their food sources. What do you think they might be looking for out there in the mud? Now there's all kinds of different food sources available out in the mud during this low tide time frame. So many different shorebirds will come over and they're going to use their different bird adaptations to be able to find the most amount of food. So they'll use their long legs to wade in the mud and make sure that everything is good. They'll use their long curved beaks to find their food source, and they'll find things like worms and snails, crabs, all kinds of different stuff. Even sometimes some small fish that get stuck behind as that tide goes out. Now, we are going to be using binoculars today. That is going to be our main focus, is how to use binoculars. But I wanted to make sure you guys knew what it was we were getting a chance to check out. Give me 1 second and I will grab my binoculars. So my binoculars are in my case. And it's always important for your binoculars that you are storing them properly. You want to make sure you are giving them the best opportunity so that they are not getting damaged. And it doesn't matter if you have really fancy binoculars or you have some really small ones that you got maybe as a gift, or those binoculars we made a few weeks ago on Living Coast in your living room, where you had the opportunity to make your own binoculars out of toilet paper tubes, our reusing materials. So it doesn't matter which kind you have. They're all going to do pretty much the same thing. Now with binoculars, it's always important that you wear your safety strap. Number one important rule with binoculars is you always put this strap around your neck. This is what allows you to protect your binoculars, so if you accidentally drop them, oh no, they don't fall to the ground and break, because that would be really sad if you broke your binoculars. They also have lens caps on them, so you do want to make sure you remove those so you don't look through them and don't see anything, because that's not very useful. Now, most binoculars have the ability to open and close, and this is how you're going to find the distance between your eyes. Now, everybody's eyes are a different distance apart. So you want to adjust them so that you can look through them and see the two different circles becoming one. So adjusting them until those two different circles become one. Once you can do that, you can check out and see what you can find. All right, let me get my two circles to become one. All right, perfect. So I see one perfect circle. So once I have that one perfect circle, I'm going to use my focus knobs to be able to adjust my picture. So this one right here is your central focus, and you're just going to turn it left and right until you can figure out which angle is going to be the best for you so that you can see through it clearly. Most binoculars will have this central one. Well, all of them will have this central one. And then there's usually a second one depending on your binocular style. So this dioptic one over here is going to be on the right eye because your right eye and your left eye do not necessarily see at the same distance. They are not always the same. So my eyes are not going to be the same as your eyes, and my left eye is not the same as my right eye. It's just how our eyes work. So you want to make sure you have those two circles. Then you're going to use that central focus to clear that image up as best as possible. And you'll rotate between those two different dioptic focus and the central focus. Now, once you've done that, you should be able to have a nice, perfect, clear image that you can see straight through in this beautiful, perfect circle. All right, so once you have your focus good to go, and you found something that's really easy to use, one thing that I like to do is before I go out with my binoculars, I stand and I look at something that's super easy and obvious for me to see with my own eyes first. Then I bring my binoculars up and I focus them, and then I bring them back down. And then I walk to wherever it is I want to go looking. So I wouldn't set my binoculars up and then hold them and go walking somewhere, because if you did that, you could walk into something. And that's very dangerous. So you want to make sure whenever you are out binocling, you are not walking. No binocling and walking. It is not good for you. So you always want to put your binoculars down whenever you need to walk. And when you're ready, you find something again, you want to plant your feet firmly. Look out and stare at whatever it is you want to see. You want to find it with your own eyes first before you bring up your binoculars. Bringing up your binoculars slowly will help you to be able to find that animal that you were trying to look at. Now, birds can be really difficult to look at with binoculars. Bird watching can be very hard because birds fly through the air very quickly. So one of the things you want to do is make sure that you are having those, you're going to look at the bird first and find out what's around it. So if you see maybe a tree or a sign that's kind of close by, something to orient yourself so that you can see where it's at, you want to look at it and like, okay, that's my reference point. And then bring your binoculars up so that you can see whatever it is you are looking at. And then hopefully your focus and your clarity is good to go, so you don't have to make any further adjustments. Now, sometimes when we bring our binoculars down, we accidentally adjust them, and that can cause problems. So you might need to do a little minor adjusting. But for the most part, it should be pretty easy for you to be able to look out and see whatever it is you were looking at. Now, another problem that a lot of people have with birding and they're out looking with their binoculars is the animal has flown by or run away really quickly. So that can be very hard to keep track. So again, you don't want to go like this everywhere and around in a circle, because it's going to be really dizzying. It's not going to work out very well. So you want to try to find whatever you can as that reference point, bring up those binoculars slowly, and stare on out. Now out here, we are out at our bird blind with our opportunity to see a lot of birds, but unfortunately there aren't that many birds out here today. We've seen a few different birds, such as our egret and our terns. Lost my field guide, but I got it, so that I can show you guys some of the common birds that we see here. So we've seen a couple of egrets fly by and a couple of terns fly by, but not a super large amount of birds out. Ironically, we've seen a lot of different crabs out on the shoreline, which is usually what they're out here looking for. So in this Sweetwater Safari trail guide that we attached for you guys, it also has some of the most common native birds. So these are some of the common birds we have here. All right, now that the helicopter's gone, all right, so we do have a lot of different native and common birds here. So this will help you identifying some of your native birds that are around the area. It is going to be broken up into different sections based off of the habitat type. So you'll have your shorebird section, which are going to be things like your cormorants and your pelicans, your shorebirds and your waders. Those are going to be birds you'll find around water, which are usually what we see out here, where we are at the bird blind. Then we have some of our different higher habitat space, our upland habitat birds, such as things like our birds of prey, things like perching birds and stuff like that. So this is a good reference for you to be able to identify different birds. So you want to do is you want to look at that bird, try to figure out what it is that is a distinguishing characteristic about that bird. Maybe you want to look for a bird that has a really long curved beak like this curlew does here. That'll help you to be able to figure out what kind of bird you are looking at. So you got to look for those distinguishing characteristics, whether it be feathers or their legs or their beaks. There's a variety of different ways that you can help to identify some of these different birds. It's a little easier if you look for something a little bit more obvious before you start trying to identify it. All right, so I saw that we have a comment that's asking if we see pelicans in the area, and we do sometimes. I haven't seen any today. Trying to look out and see if I see any. Let me look and see if I can see a little farther away out by those buoys that are out there. You guys probably can't really see them. They probably look like weird little sticks out there. But sometimes we see some pelicans flying around in that area. So let's see. When I'm out looking with my binoculars, I see our gorgeous San Diego Bay. The water looks amazing today. I see we got a couple of boaters out there. So as I'm kind of spanning across the water here, I'm not moving very fast. I'm doing it in very slow motions. So that way I can get a good clear image. And if there is something, I can stop and spend a little bit more time looking at it. Now, I'm not seeing any pelicans out today, but I do see another tern. Looks like a forester's tern. The way I can identify that bird is one of the telltale signs for a tern is they will hover in one spot and then dive straight down. So it's really cool to get a chance to see that. Do we have any other questions? All right. Well, I'm really glad you guys got a chance to come out here and check out our bird blind area here at the Living Coast. I know it can be hard to stay home at this time, so we are doing our best to bring nature into your homes, into your living rooms, so that you can get a chance to check it out. Looks like we got a snowy egret friend coming in. He's probably a little too small for you guys to see, but he's coming closer up to us. So keep an eye out for him in the background. You might be able to see it. I called it a boy, but I don't actually know. It's pretty small, but it is a snowy egret. So it does give you a great chance to get to check out our natural environments and our native birds that call San Diego home. I hope you've had a great time here with us today, and we'll see you next time on Living Coast in your living room.